Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's P-EBT webinar about the Bbr Benefit Verification Review. We have Bill Byford speaking with us today. Bill, do you want to go ahead and take it?
Absolutely. So thank you for joining. Thank you, Randa, for starting us off. I want to say a big thank you to all those out there for your work that you've already done and the patience that you've shown throughout the process of round 4. I know we've got a couple of action items out there for most of you now, and that is either uploading your second upload for the year or not uploading anything, which means you didn't have anybody to upload. No new students enrolled, no new eligible students for non-CEP districts. No field staff have been reaching out to folks this week and making sure that we know that you've either uploaded or you don't have any kids or students to upload, so thank you for that. And then the provisioning worksheet. So if you're going to do the benefit verification review from the district perspective, which means you're not including your school attendance clerks in that process, then you are probably set to go for the benefit verification review. If you are going to include school level personnel in that review, we are provisioning those folks for TN Share access and doing that as we speak. So I'll talk a little bit more about that through the process of the PowerPoint day, but thank you for completing that work for us. So, obviously, we want to set all students on a path for success, that best path for success for them, and we reside in the student readiness column down here for non-academic needs of all students in their career pathways with nutritious meals and benefits that they qualify through the pandemic program that we call P-EBT. Our mission statement for our nutrition team is to develop extraordinary school nutrition professionals and provide strategies to increase consumption of healthy school meals. We do that with 2 guiding principles around P-EBT, and that's to benefit our students and hopefully make this process as easy on our stakeholders as we can. And I laugh tongue-in-cheek there a little bit because I know we've hit some bumps in the road, and we probably will moving forward as well, but we will solution those problems and continue to head towards the finish line, so we thank you for that. Here's our objectives for the day around 21-22 P-EBT round 4. So we'll be looking at TN Share today, do a little overview of that. We'll do an overview of the BVR, Benefit Verification Review, show you some screen shots of what you'll be seeing. We'll talk about over-issuance as well, show you some screenshots of that, talk about roles and responsibilities and our up-to-the-date timeline moving forward on what we expect and how we expect it. Let's talk about TN Share. So if you recall, we adjusted to the TN Share platform for security reasons, and as a result of that, it has backed up some of our timeline a little bit, but we feel like we've solutioned this part of the process, and we think it's actually going to be a better solution than the initial thought process that we had coming out of the gate. So I hope that you see it that way too. So TN Share is the Tennessee Department of Education SharePoint site used to provide access to files for the benefit verification review. We have been gathering those provisioning worksheets from districts who choose to do it this way through their building level attendance clerks. We will be sending out access rights and login credentials through this particular web address up at the top of your screen, security@tnedu.gov. That will start tomorrow on the 14th. So if you have chosen to do this at the building level, your building level attendance clerks will be receiving emails from that particular web address, security@tnedu.gov, and that will start tomorrow. Make sure that those employees that you will be provisioning know that it's coming from this particular web address, and make sure that they go in and immediately get their login set up and make sure that they can access that particular platform. If you're familiar with that platform, and I'm sure most of you on this call are, that is the Orion single sign-on platform where you have tiles. The tile that they will have is the TN Share tile, and they will probably also get the Tennessee Department of Education tile, which means they can just immediately press on that button and go to tn.gov/education, and that is the Tennessee Department of Education's website. But the main resource for those building level folks will be the TN Share platform. So let's look at some steps on how to access the relevant folders that they will be receiving and that district level personnel will be receiving. So I'll have some screenshots of this as well, but we can talk through it first. So there will be an area there called 2122 Documents. You will push on that. You will then go to All Districts, then go to your district, put in that ID number or that district name. It will take you to the P-EBT administration file and then the school name of the school that you are responsible for. So if you have been provisioned, if you are a building level clerk who has been provisioned, you will only be granted access to the school building file that you reside. So if you're working in ABC Elementary, you will only get that file in your TN Share platform. If you are a district level personnel, you will have a folder with all of your school files within it, and that is the difference. So provision folks in one building get one file. District level folks get all the files for all the schools within their district. So what we're asking you to do once you've accessed that is to review those files, to validate those absence codes, and if you see that there are codes for some reason or another, whether that's you used a local code or some other legitimate reason, that you see a code that does not match what we sent you, then you have every opportunity to change that code from an absence to a C code, which is COVID, and that's what we're asking you to do within the BVR process. After you get done with all of that, all the different months, so you'll start with August and go to September, and then October and November, all the way through April within the first BVR opportunity. Once you get done with that, you'll attest that information, and this is when you will actually leave the TN Share site platform as a district level person, and you will log into the Servicenow portal where the attestation will occur. So you'll do the work within TN Share, you will attest in the Servicenow portal for district level personnel. Building level personnel will not have the ability to go into Servicenow and attest. So what we're asking district level folks to do, if your folks have been provisioned and they're doing the work out in the buildings, then simply look over that for quality control and then attest through the Servicenow platform. If you are one of those districts, and we have a lot of them, that are doing this task from a district level perspective, meaning they are not provisioning building level folks, then you will actually go into the Servicenow portal. You will quality control your own work and do that attestation. In red here, you'll also note you'll not be able to reattest once you attest your original submission. So make sure that before you attest that information, that it is correct to the best of your ability, because there will be no way to go back and undo that click. And you'll see when we get a little bit deeper into the presentation that there will be several checks and balances which will prompt you into understanding what you're about to do and making sure that you're in agreement with that. So we call them guardrails, and we have several that will pop up and say, are you sure you want to do this? And when it does that, you need to really make sure that before you click that button, everything is correct to the best of your ability. Here's some screenshots of what you'll see in TN Share. Again, this is being recorded, so you'll have the ability to look at this presentation and listen to it again if you need to. And two other great resources that we're going to be sending out next week are the resource guides for the BVR and the resource guides for the over-issuance. And I think you'll appreciate the detail that we've got in those resource guides. So if you notice the first screenshot, you're going to 2122 documents, just like in the directions on the previous slide. You will go to all districts, then pick your district, your school, and attest your school's information. Again, if you're doing that from a district perspective, you will have the ability to do that for all of your schools. Then for the attestation, at the bottom of your screen, you see two screenshots on the Servicenow portal. That basically, on that first red circle there, that is the attestation button. It will take you to the next visual, which says Shelby County Schools and the different schools within Shelby County and the different months under that. So you'll pick schools, you'll pick months, and you will attest to that particular data set, and you will have the ability to do multiple schools at one time if you so choose to do that. Let's do our BVR overview again, and we've done this before, but I want to make sure that everybody is understanding of what we're asking of you through the benefit verification review. So this is a process to validate excused absences as COVID-related and eligible for P-EBT benefits. So for several reasons, the main reason is local codes that we can't validate at the state level. If you used a Q code for quarantine or a C code for COVID, and we only utilized a D code for distance learning at the state, all of those local codes default to a straight absent code when we see them on EIS. So we're going to give you a file. You're going to look at your own information system data. You're going to verify that what you see on our side matches what you see on your side, and you will have the ability to change those for any COVID-related absences. So any student that's eligible for free and reduced meals via application, via direct certification, via community eligibility provision or provision 2 schools who has an A or an excused absence code requiring review will populate in the list. So you will see those folks that fit all of those scenarios, application, DC list, CEP, or provision 2. You will see all of those students coming back to you with absence codes, and you will be asked to validate those absence codes or change them to a COVID-related absence. Now, down there in red, you'll also see decoded absences and absences covered under the simplified assumption will not be included, so those benefits will be paid out. Any decodes will be paid, and any simplified assumption 6+ consecutive COVID-related absences or more will be paid out. So don't worry about seeing those. You will not see those. They will not come back to you for verification. Those will simply be paid out. So before the BVR, you're going to see A codes, and after the BVR, if anything changes, you'll see some C codes because you will actually manually change those on the list. So we're not asking you to change anything that you can't verify or validate. If you think they should stay in A code, you keep them in A code. If you have other records at the local level that suggest to you that that A code should actually be a COVID-related absence, then change it to a C. Here's some examples of some screenshots. So the only thing that we're asking you to adjust potentially is what you see in red, and those are the dates that you were in school, that the kid was in school, and also if the kid was absent or not. So those A's that you're seeing on your screen, those are the ones that could potentially change to a C with your manual override. If you feel that those are all correct, do nothing. There is nothing that we ask of you. If you see that one or two of those are, all the way up to all of those are COVID related, then by all means change those to a C. Do not adjust any other fields. If any of these other fields are adjusted, it's really going to cause us a lot of pain and heartache. I don't know why the automation will not read only those fields, but it will not. So the only thing that we want you to change is the attendance columns here that you see in red. So that was a before and after shot. You saw the before, now here's the after. So if we toggle back and forth to both, you would see the A's on the first, and now you see 6 different times that your data did not match our data. So at the local level, you've got this third student here from Shelby County Schools, Miss Smith, and these are all made up names, had 3 COVID absences on line 4 there, and then 3 COVID absences on line 2 there. So those were the adjustments made from the before, and now here's the after. Now, here's a screenshot of the BVR attestation screen, and remember, you're going out of the TNShare platform at this point and going into the Servicenow platform. So the attestation, remember me telling you about the guardrail. So you'll see the warning signs in red. Before you submit, there will be different notifications that come up and say, are you sure that the BVR file is complete? Are you sure you have selected the correct schools? Are you sure you have selected the correct months? So it will prompt you into checking yourself and quality controlling yourself. We want to make sure that what you submit and what you attest to, you have total confidence that it is correct. Here's some step-by-step instructions. So the attendance supervisor receives the SharePoint links in that school folder. The attendance supervisor distributes those links to attendance clerks. So this is the part here where we're still building our platform a little bit. What I envision is the attendance supervisor will have to do no distribution whatsoever. So the reason why we're provisioning folks in school buildings is so those particular files pop up for those particular folks only. So unless something changes drastically here, there will be no distribution from the attendance supervisor. The provision clerks in the buildings will get the applicable file that they should get. They will do their work, and they will put that, just alert the attendance supervisor that their work is complete. The attendance supervisor will quality control that work and then attest to it. So number 3 here, school attendance clerk reviews the absences. The clerk should replace confirmed COVID absences with a C. So they're going from an A to a C. Don't worry about non-COVID absences or unconfirmed absences. Just keep them as is. The attendance clerk notifies the attendance supervisor that the work is complete. The attendance supervisor reviews each sheet, and the director of schools or the attendance supervisor or the designee, whoever the director of schools wanted to designate as the person to attest, will be able to do that. That may be the director, that may be the attendance supervisor, that may be the nutrition supervisor, it may be something else. It depended on what your director of schools wanted to do. Let's look at overissuance. So overissuance is a process to recover or adjust P-EBT payments and to correct those errors in attendance coding or categorization. So we know we had some overissuance in previous rounds, and the overissuance checks and balance are to keep that from happening. The USDA will not be as favorable on hold harmless as they have been in previous rounds, so we want to make sure that no LEA in the state of Tennessee is hit with any kind of overissuance charges that they were not expecting, and this is our way to do that. Here's some screen examples of what you'll see in the Servicenow platform. So the first overissuance check is 30 consecutive days. So if you've got a kid who is a long hauler and has had 30 consecutive or more days of COVID-related absence, you simply go over to the far right, and if that is true, you approve it. If it is not true, you reject it. And it's as simple as that. Here's some step-by-step instructions. So review the absences to determine if they are COVID-related or not. Here's some questions you could ask of yourself and approve those if they are COVID-related or reject if they're not. The second over-issuance check is 4 consecutive months. So you've got a student, Bill Byford, who was quarantined 1 month, got COVID the next month, got quarantined the month after that, and then got a second round of COVID for the 4th month. Obviously, there won't be a lot of kids that are populated on this list, but there is the possibility that you would have some kids who had benefits or qualifying eligible days within 4 consecutive months. We are just asking you to confirm that Bill Byford did have those COVID-related absences for those 4 consecutive months. You will either approve that or you will reject it. And then here's the instructions, pretty much what I just said. The last over-issuance check I will take care of at the state level. So if your district is 10% over the amount of COVID-related absences in 1 month versus the next from that baseline month, then I will go to the EIS attendance platform, and I will validate the fact that you had more schools that were out, you had more classrooms that were out, you had higher percentages of COVID cases in your community. There may be a small chance that I might reach out to you as the director or the attendance supervisor and ask you to validate that, but I think if all my information is correct, I will be able to validate all of those at the state level, so I don't think I'll be bothering you a whole lot with that one. There's some step-by-step instructions there. Your consultant might reach out or I might reach out and just confirm those eligible days. Roles and responsibilities. So here's our little hierarchy list. So that's me at the top there, and I'm kind of responsible for running the whole P-EBT thing. So any complaints or compliments, I'll be happy to take those. Hope this is going to work out better than previous rounds. We're working hard to make that happen. Region consultants are locking arms with me and the nutrition team and making it to where we can communicate with you a little bit faster. They are communicating with your attendance personnel and your food service personnel on a regular basis. We appreciate them for that. Then you've got your director of schools who will be responsible for testing or having a designee to do that attestation. And then we get to attendance supervisors and district nutrition supervisors who will be collecting that BVR data and attesting to that as well if they are a designee. And then we have attendance clerks, if provisioned to do the work in the building level. That's what those folks are doing, and we appreciate it. Let's look at our timeline. So here's the money slide. This is the slide that keeps changing, and I want to apologize for that, but when you're dealing with automation and security and platforms and connectivity, we have a large lift there as far as making all that work. I know this first benefit verification review has been backed up several times. What I will tell you is what I told folks at the attendance conference last week. If you're like me and you take this slide and you print it off and you stick it up on your wall, I've given it to you about 4 times now and it's been incorrect with incorrect dates on it because things keep moving back. I want you to tear up any previous slides that you've got on your wall that are not this particular slide in this particular slide deck, which we will share with you either late this week or early next week, probably early next week. But this number 3 here, benefit verification review, it will start on the 27th of April. You will have 13 working days to complete the benefit verification review at the local level. You will be verifying the months of August through April. So this particular benefit verification review will be undoubtedly the heaviest lift that we have within the rest of this process. So I want to make sure that everybody's aware of April 27th through May 13th. I also want to go backwards a little bit to our Nslp student upload. I want to apologize for the communication that went out unbeknownst to us at TDOE a little bit earlier this week. Obviously, if we'd had an opportunity to view that correspondence, we would have edited that and sent it to the appropriate people. We apologize for nutrition consultants, nutrition supervisors, and anybody at district level that was inundated with parent phone calls over the last several days. I know you have been, because I've been, and you probably have gotten many more than me, but apologize for that. So you'll notice a small adjustment to our Nslp student upload window here, and that goes through the 18th. This is what I want to tell you. So everybody's been tracking towards the 13th, because that's when our initial deadline was. Please turn that in as quickly as you can. Now, some of you are saying, yeah, but we've got, you know, the 14th. I know we're not in school on the 15th, and then Saturday's the 16th, and Sunday's the 17th. But we do have the 14th, which is a potential date that someone could come in and be eligible for free and reduced lunch. Now, that's not going to happen a lot statewide, but it is a possibility. So I want to be able to capture those kids. If you can upload those files, then do that. If you can't, we will be sending around a worksheet on Monday, the 18th, and any student, if you've already uploaded, let's say you uploaded on the 10th, and you had a couple of kids that came in who were eligible for free and reduced lunch, and you're saying, well, I've already uploaded. Well, we're going to get you a worksheet first of next week where you can populate those kids, and those kids in non-CEP districts will qualify at that point. So rest assured that we're going to beat the bush and find every kid that qualifies for benefits in the state of Tennessee. And if we don't, we're going to work hard at trying to do that. Remember, we still have a reconsideration process, and we still have a appeals process if we miss any. So it is another check and balance on how we're trying to make sure to qualify or to find every kid that qualifies for P-EBT benefits in the state of Tennessee. So number 3 was the benefit verification review. You see the 27th through May 13th. Then we've got our first over issuance checks, the 16th through the 20th. The BVR populates over issuance. So you can't get ahead of the BVR. Once we do what we do with the data from an automation standpoint, that will populate our overissuance, which will go out. And you see that that overissuance has a very short timeline. That attestation part really needs to be done quickly. So I know I've talked a lot on this slide, but I wanted to give you the ability to look at it, see when the second BVR date is, starting on May 21st through the end of your school year. Everybody has a different ending date in the state of Tennessee, county to county, school to school. So that's why we said end of school year. Then we will do another Nslp student upload, which is a cleanup for that, and then another overissuance check. Then we go into reconsideration and appeals. But I think the heaviest load, obviously, will be the first BVR, April 27th through May 13th. So another way to visualize those dates on this slide, you'll see the same thing. I'm a big believer in learning styles, and we've got 3 ways to look at it. So here's our second way. There's our important April 18th date there for kids who are in non-CEP schools that come in and are qualified for Nslp. That is for their ability to go back and retroactively receive benefits through August of 21. That is an important date for any kid that is eligible within that timeline. Then we've got our first BVR. When it opens, when it closes, our overissuance checks and deadlines there. And then the second BVR, with our all-important May 30th benefits distributed on that day. It'll be a celebratory day across the state of Tennessee, not only for the nutrition division, but for you in districts as well. Last week at the attendance conference, we talked about how many kids benefited from previous rounds, and that was in the 600,000 range with millions and millions of dollars. And then the follow-up with retroactive, which was another 240,000 kids with about $30 million on top of that. So thank you for your work there, and that's why we do what we do, because we know those kids qualify for benefits, they're hungry, and they need them. One last way to visualize the timeline here. So you see Nslp uploads in the first column, you see benefit verification reviews in the second, and then over issuance checks in the third with the applicable date ranges below. Whichever one is better for you in your ability to summarize this information and be able to articulate that to the applicable folks in your district, feel free to use any one of those 3 slides to do that. So I'll give you some contact information for a couple of different things moving forward. So if you're having T and share problems, we've got a helpline set up, and that's dt.support@tn.gov, and here's our contact number, 1-800-495-4154. If you've got Servicenow issues, then here's the web address for that, pebtschoolportal.help.dhs@tn.gov, and our number is 629-220-2000. I have a feeling a lot of you know that number by heart already. Thank you for that. And obviously, if you can't get any help, I'm your guy. So there's my email address, there's my phone number. Feel free to reach out to me with compliments or concerns. And anything that you can't figure out, I'll be glad to help you figure it out. Obviously, reach out to your nutrition consultant in your region. They are up to speed with all things P-EBT, and if not, they've got the hotline, so they can get a hold of me or other team members who can help them on demand. That is it, Randa. Shoot your questions from the chat.
Awesome. I do realize I forgot to say at the beginning that if you do have questions, to put those in the chat box and send them to all panelists. So if you had a question and put it somewhere else, make sure you drop that in the chat box, and we will be sure to get it answered. First question says, just to confirm, if we did send up the D code, do we still have to verify? I thought we did, but I could be wrong.
If you sent up the D code. So I'm going to try to decipher that. So I'm assuming that means that you utilize the D code. And if you did, I think you're in really good shape. So there will be districts who utilize the D code and kept up with COVID-related absence that will have little to no work to be done during the benefit verification review. There will be other districts who did not use the D code, used a local code, or maybe didn't keep up with it, that have more work to do. At the end of the line with all of this guidance, I will never ask anyone to attest to something that they can't verify. So regardless of if you use the D code, if you didn't use the D code, if you used a local code, if you didn't use a local code, or if you didn't even keep up with it, let's make sure that it is what it is and you attest to the things that you know to be true at the local level.
The next question is, how do we access the Servicenow portal?
The Servicenow portal, well, so I know that your nutrition folks have an intimate knowledge of the Servicenow portal, so I would say your best option there would be to collaborate with your local nutrition supervisor, and they will help you with that. There is a web address for the Servicenow portal, and I'll work on that. Gary, Sandy, if y'all can work on that and put that in the chat, that would be helpful.
If a student had 12 excused consecutive absences due to surgery, based on your criteria, they will receive, based on your criteria, they will receive the benefit even though it was not COVID-related, correct?
Correct. And let me explain why. So a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. And we knew we had districts that some were using the decode, some were not. So through feedback through the state plan process through USDA, one of their feedback comments was, what are you going to do about students like that who have consecutive absences that you really can't confirm? So we came up with a simplified assumption of 6+ consecutive absences. That was based on 10-day quarantine guidance at the first of around August 21. When we were looking at COVID guidance back then, we know that's changed several times since then. That was when the plan was turned in, and then several months later, the plan was approved. So there was no going back. The USDA approved that. They still are good with that terminology. They feel the same way. They know there's going to be some overissuance with some kids that weren't COVID related, but we feel like the majority of those kids will be COVID related, and we feel good about the simplified assumption.
Are all non-D absences going to be shown on the file to give the opportunity to change to a C, or just those absences that are a different code than is recognized in EIS?
The only codes that you'll get back will be absence codes. They will not be unexcused absence codes. It will just be absence codes.
To clarify, are the overissuance checks occurring in the P-EBT Servicenow Snow platform and not the T-and-Share platform?
Correct.
Okay. I am the EIS supervisor for a district and have been a point of contact along with our nutrition supervisor. Our attendance supervisor has not been involved in this process. Will this information and the instructions continue to be sent to me or to the person who is in our district attendance supervisor?
So on the access form that we sent around, probably a month ago, we identified hopefully the proper contacts within each district. So if you're currently receiving those communications, you will continue to receive those communications. If there is anyone out there who feels like they're not receiving the communications and they should, reach out to your regional field service rep for the nutrition division, let them know that, and they will bubble that information up to us and we'll get it changed.
Is the portal now staying open until April 18th instead of the previous closing on April 13th?
It is staying open until the 18th.
When will the extra worksheet be sent?
I am shooting for the 18th on the worksheet. Now, keep in mind, the only thing that the worksheet is capturing are students who have come in since you uploaded the second time. So if you uploaded on the 13th, maybe you've got the 14th that you've got one day there where a kid could come in. There will be several districts, many districts, that won't have any kids to populate on that additional worksheet. The sooner you upload it, if you upload it on the 5th or you upload it on the 7th, there's the possibility that additional students have come in and either enrolled in CEP districts or qualified in non-CEP districts. So we're just giving you one more shot to say, you know, these kids came in on this date. The most important date, the most important field that you could populate on that form is going to be the date. So we know that that April 17th date is a very crucial date when it comes to retro benefits for round 4. If a kid comes in before the 17th, we want to capture them before you know, that 17th date.
When will the coding be corrected on uploading students so it will not kick our kids out if one district has the name in all caps and ours is in proper case? I've spent most of the day working on these errors. It is very frustrating.
I totally get it. And here's what we had. We had 3 different scenarios. We had districts using all uppercase. We had districts using all lowercase. And then we had districts doing it the right way. Meaning, if you're going to look at Bill Byford, the B is capitalized and all the others are not. And then the next B and the last name is capitalized and all the others are not. So we did have a case-sensitive catch there in our automation. To my knowledge, currently, that has been pulled out of the logic. So I apologize to those folks who have had to work on that. But we did catch it, and there was no reason for it, so we pulled the logic out. Currently, today, that should not be a problem, and if it is, I'd sure like to know it because we were supposed to change that.
Will recipients receive new cards, or will old cards be reloaded?
Old cards will be reloaded, but we know that a lot of folks have thrown away those cards, so if you need another card, you can go through the P-EBT portal, and they will send you one. And let me show you, wait one second, Miranda, that P-EBT school portal.help at DHS, that'll get you some help on that card issue right there. Okay, Randa.
Can they direct parents to that email address if the parent has lost the card?
I don't know why not.
Okay. We are using double letter coding for attendance. Are we supposed to go back and change all of those?
So if it kicked out and you called the 629-220-2000 number, which is the help desk, and they're telling you to do that, then we need to do it because obviously we're trying to validate and make sure that these kids are the same kids. I know it's a problem, but the reality is, and this is what's happened when kids are transient and they go from one school to the next or one district to the next. The way folks have done things is a little bit nuanced difference between schools and between districts. That's just a validating piece. I hate the logic, I really do. I think if it says Bill Byford in any way, that it's Bill Byford, and you can check the social, you can check the state student ID, any other unique qualifiers, and you can validate the fact that it is Bill Byford. But it was initially written into the logic. It is supposed to be currently changed to where that is not a barrier. And if it still is, I'd really like to know it.
If people do not have a P-EBT card already, is there a time frame they can expect to receive a card?
So if benefit issuance is on the 30th and they have not received a card before, they will get a new card. So any child, any student that has not received a P-EBT card before will receive a new one on or around that date. So they will start to issue those benefits on May 30th. If you are in the system, they will reload the card. If you call them and say, I threw my card away, they will send you another card. So I think that catches all those different scenarios.
This person says, I sent in a spreadsheet to have our school attendance clerk provisioned to attest attendance, but I would like to attest the attendance at the district level. Is this going to be a problem?
No. You can attest that. In fact, I don't think they will have the ability. Number one, I don't think they can go in the Servicenow platform. I don't think building level clerks have provisions to go in the Servicenow platform. You do.
Will the PowerPoint be shared?
Absolutely.
Can you put back up the contact info for the helpline, the page before the current page showing? I think that one, yeah.
This one, okay.
I think, no, I think the other one. Yeah, I think that one.
There you go.
How does a new person get access to the Servicenow portal? Some districts have had staff changes since the original Director of Schools list went out, and the school nutrition supervisors don't want to attest to the data they can't or didn't verify.
Send me an email at that email address right there and tell me your scenario, and I'll get you access.
I just saw that someone put the Servicenow URL in the chat just to me, so I went ahead and shared that out with all participants.
Thank you.
We enter student attendance in Infinite Campus. Is this the same as EIS?
No, it's not the same. So from what I understand, that's a local level attendance package. EIS is the state level attendance package, and your local package at some point extracts to EIS, and when it does, that's what I'm talking about on the local codes. We only, through EIS, recognize state level codes. If you're using different local codes, it doesn't connect. So it is not the same as far as I'm aware.
This person says, my attendance supervisor said that she cannot find any files on the T&Share. Are these in the process of being uploaded?
Yeah, they're not there yet. Absolutely.
Do we have a timeline for that?
Well, I would say it would be knocking on the door of the 27th. Given the fact that we've had issues around automation, issues around security, platforms, and connectivity, that's been the whole reason why this BVR keeps getting moved back. So that 27th was communicated to me today by our technology folks and our vendor. I wouldn't think we would be ready before the 27th. I would think it would probably be knocking on the door of the 27th. I think what you need to be concerned about now is making sure the right people have access, making sure when they get that email tomorrow from, let's see, security@tnedu.gov, making sure those folks go in and set up their credentials and their login information, make sure they've got their tile and they can click on it and they know what they're doing and when they're doing it. I think that's the most important thing that we can be doing right now is getting ready. If you've got uploads, you need to make them. If you need to provision folks, you need to provision them. But those are the two things that are most important today. And then we can take another exhale moment after you get that done and wait on the 27th to roll around, and then you'll have 13 working days to get that first BVR done. I really think after that first BVR, we're going to be in good shape.
For BVR, are edits to be made live in SharePoint, or do Excel files need to be downloaded, edited, and then re-uploaded?
No, you can do the work within the platform. That's the whole reason for the platform is the security. So there will be a like school ABC in your queue, and you'll click on it, and there'll be August, September, October, November, December months for that particular school. If you've been provisioned, you'll click on that first month, you'll complete that benefit verification review, you move on to the next month, do the same thing until you work through all of those files. Once you're done with that, you alert your district level supervisor that you're done. They will quality control that, attest to it, and it will continue to stay, those files will continue to stay in the T&Share platform. There is no download, upload, any of that kind of stuff. Now, I do know we have some districts that don't particularly like our T&Share platform and doing it the way we'd like it to be done. The only thing that I've told those folks is when you take it out of that secure platform, you take accountability for it too. So if you're one of those districts that does not like this process and you want to take it out of that platform and put it into your own platform, you can do that, but just realize if there's a breach and it comes out of TN Share, it's going to be your baby. So we recommend doing the work within TN Share. We understand that some folks don't want to, but we also understand that there are some potential security risks with doing that.
Do you know what date the data was pulled from our student information packet?
So we're fixing to do it again. So we've pulled it a couple of times now, and we're going to do it one more time. I would assume that will be probably the 18th, because we're going to, you know, hopefully that 17th date is that important date. So we'll probably pull that data on the 18th, and that'll be for everybody statewide.
If an SFA has already uploaded during this period, can they make another upload for additional students as long as they do it before the end of the day on the 18th, rather than using this new additional worksheet?
Here's the thing on the 18th. It is not the end of the day. It is the beginning of the day. In fact, it's 8 o'clock. I don't understand it. In fact, when I talked to our other folks around it, I said go ahead and shut it down on the 13th like we had said. Nobody's working on the 15th. Nobody's working on the 16th. Nobody's working on the 17th. And if you close it at 8 o'clock on the 18th, about the time that people get to work, it's closed. So I was overridden on that decision, and it will be open till the 18th, but it will only be open till 8 o'clock on the 18th. If I was you, I would upload before you leave this week, whether that be the 14th or the 13th. That's what I do. And if you had any kid come in on the 14th, we'll send that worksheet around to you, and you can document it on that. But I would not mess around until the 18th. You also know, most of you on this call know, that it's not as simple as uploading and it just going straight through. You know, you've got errors that you've got to adjust and fix. I would not wait until the 18th to do that.
You said the login information would be sent out to the people we asked to be provisioned starting tomorrow, but the process to review the data doesn't start until April 27th. Should they wait until the 27th to follow any login instructions, or are they okay to go ahead and try to log in and make sure they have the correct access?
Absolutely, go ahead and do that now. When you get that email, do it then.
We uploaded on 4/13, but our system ran the report on 4/11. It takes a little time to go through them. We will have to pull info for 4/12 through 4/17 on 4/18 and try to submit the same day. That may be difficult.
And I just wouldn't do it. I mean, I would probably utilize that worksheet that'll be coming around on the 18th. I'll let you do whatever you want to do, but if it was me, I would probably, by the end of the day tomorrow's Thursday the 14th, I might try to upload tomorrow if you've got some straggler kids, but I think that worksheet's probably going to be the best answer come the 18th.
So there's not specifics on these two comments, but I'm pretty sure it's in reference to that all caps versus all not all caps, because someone said that they had to redo students yesterday, and then someone else said it has not. I tried to upload today and got the error. So I'm pretty sure that is in relation to that all caps error.
I'm sorry about that. That's the only thing I can do is apologize. I don't understand the logic. It should have never been in there. I was told that it would be taken out, and that's been a week ago. I'll check on it, but I apologize for you having to do additional work.
Is it too late to correct attendance codes that may have been sent incorrectly?
I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't at this point. I mean, that's the whole point of the BVR. If you've got an absence code or you've got, you know, a local code, it's going to transfer to an A. You'll be able to change that on the BVR. I'd let the process go through like it should. I wouldn't try to circumvent the process by changing things. That, even though you're trying to fix stuff, I think there's the ability for some of that stuff to get lost in translation with timelines and updates and those kind of things. I just wouldn't do it.
I have a couple of questions here saying that the email for the cards is not for parents. So they're just asking for clarification on if the parents can be sent to that email address if they no longer have a card, and if not, if they can get an email address to send parents to.
Okay. Oh. Scrolling through my helplines here. So I tell you what you do. If you've got kids that need new cards, send me an email and I'll route it to the right place, bill.byford@tn.gov.
This is another comment about the parents and the help numbers. It says, I've sent parents to the P-EBT help numbers. The parents have been rejected and told the date of birth and social security number were incorrect. I checked these versus what was submitted and they are correct. The parent is frustrated that they can't get a new card. I do not know how to help them. Please tell me where to have them call.
Well, you see my number on the screen. Tell them to call me and I'll try to route them.
Another comment that says, as of 30 minutes ago, the caps lowercase was still a problem.
Thank you for letting me know.
What procedures are being put in place to prevent DHS from communicating with parents without material being vented by the Child Nutrition Department first?
I really don't have a politically correct good answer for that. I don't know. That should have never happened yesterday. I wish I had had the opportunity to look at that, put my eyeballs on it, and edit it. I did not. We have talked to them about future communications. We hope that they inform us next time. I can't confirm that they will do that, but they have said they will. So that's what I know.
If our district has had us use CV, will we leave it as such or change them to a C? I wasn't clear on your answer.
So if your district used CV in your local attendance package, when we get it, it defaults back to an A. So when you're doing the benefit verification review, you will see it as an A. You will toggle over to your attendance for that same student. You will see it as a CV. Within the benefit verification review, you'll change that A to a C.
We put in local attendance codes into PowerSchool. Are we going to be contacted by our attendance supervisors as to what we are supposed to do? I've never entered any attendance into another platform before.
So not real sure of the question, but again, I think you've got a local attendance package, and then on a monthly basis, the state extracts from yours into ours, and that's how that occurs. So I'm kind of unsure about the rest of that.
There's a comment saying that they're concerned that 13 days to verify 8 months of attendance won't be enough time to do that.
I am concerned as well, and we're going to do the best we can. I think the main thing is when the 27th gets here, you need to immediately start. You can't be too proactive when it comes to that date. I think you've got to be ready to roll on that date. I think small rural districts will have no problem. I think larger districts who utilize our TN share option will not have a problem, but there is going to have to be priority provision to the provisioned folks in school buildings if you utilize our process within TN share. I think they need to know that it's a priority task. I think when they start moving through this, maybe the first few months, August especially, they'll be finding their way through the platform, finding their way through the process. I think they will continually get quicker and better. But I think if they have acclimated time, 13 business days will be adequate. I am with you. I wanted and advocated for more days. The reality is we don't have it. So it has been an automation challenge, not blame gaming it. We're doing the best that we can with that. I want you to do the best that you can with that. And if you're running into issues, you get closer to the end of the BVR and your district is having problems and you can't do it, obviously reach out to me and we'll see if we can't solution that. But I think for the majority of districts on this call, you're going to have adequate time to complete the BVR. There will be some challenges.
If attendance data on a local platform does not transfer to state, how will we do the BVR?
I don't know why it wouldn't.
There's a question regarding how this information will be shared, who will be emailing the recording and the follow-up materials.
Okay. Your regional consultants will do that. Again, that'll be somewhere around the Monday time frame where we will email the slide deck. Hopefully the archive will be available at that point of the presentation, and we will also send out 2 additional resources in the Benefit Verification Review Resource Guide and the Over-Issuance Resource Guide. Hopefully all that will collide at the same time along with that worksheet, and we will send one correspondence. But if not, there may be multiple correspondences, and what I mean by that is you may get one that's got the PowerPoint, the 2 resource guides, and the link to the presentation, and you may get a standalone worksheet correspondence as well.
So this next question is a very specific question to the circumstances, but I'm just going to go ahead and read it so it's out there because I think it will apply to potentially multiple groups. It's from a charter school in Memphis, Shelby County. So it says, I'm unsure as an FFA that is separate, but so this charter school has their own FFA, but for the LEA, they're part of Shelby County Schools. And this person does not have access to TN Share, so they're wanting to know who will be doing the BVR information, them or Shelby County.
That's a great question, and we want to answer to that too. So I think we're currently trying to solution that particular scenario. We've seen it both ways. We've seen it where the charter school will do that, and we've also seen it where the LEA will do that for them. So we will be reaching out to Shelby County and seeing how they would rather do that, and making sure that you've got what you need. If that answer is charter schools will do it on their own, making sure that you've got the ability to do that. Thank you for the question, though. Realize we're currently trying to solution that particular issue.
Okay, so regardless of the deadline of the 18th, if they have already submitted a file, can they go ahead and upload an additional file for this upload period, or do they have to wait?
You do not have to wait. You can upload multiple files if you like.
once the additional worksheet is completed, what are the next steps? What do they do?
Exhale, and then wait till the 27th.
So there's no like notification or something that they need to say like, hey, we finished this?
Nope. You know, we're going to see what has been turned in by the 17th date. We're going to run the data on that. We will do a cleanup effort with the worksheet and any additional students that were unearthed by that process. We will work to run the attendance package on our students that you've uploaded. We will get that information to our vendor. They will populate it on our T&Share site. They will get our Servicenow platform ready for attestation. What you're doing at the district during that time period is you're making sure that all your folks are provisioned. If you choose to do it building level, you're making sure that you're ready as the supervisor if you're going to do it from a district perspective, and you're alerting your director of schools or their designee that attestation windows are very short, and we need you to prioritize that work during that window and meet those deadlines.
Additional people are saying they're still getting the error message. One specifically said that their error message says the state student ID on this row is already associated to another student. Resubmit the correct state student ID.
On all of those, especially those state student ID pieces, call the helpline 629-220-2000 and talk to the representative about that. What I can tell you is we've got a few districts out there that are confused around the state student ID and local IDs. So they have turned in local IDs that ironically match the 7 characters of a state student ID. Let me tell you what happens when that occurs. So let's say you've got a valid student, Bill Byford, in Bedford County Schools, and another school district half a state away chooses to submit local IDs instead of state student IDs. And there's a kid over there who's got the same ID that Bill Byford's got. What happens is that those records are deleted as a result of that, because there can't be one kid or 2 kids with the same ID. So please do not use anything but state student IDs. We have talked to the districts who have had those issues, and I think we're in a place now where nobody in the state of Tennessee is using anything other than state student IDs. But it sounds like that particular scenario of what you said, there was another ID somewhere else in the state of Tennessee that was either a state student ID or a local ID, and those 2 IDs collided.
So this person says our district has state testing from April 18th through the 25th, and we have no experience with all of this. So I think they're just expressing some concerns.
I feel it as well.
This next person says, so on the screen, if I'm understanding correctly, there will be a toggle in the T&Share system to see my coding versus the A's that are being changed to C's.
So what you will see in T&Share is the BVR. So what I was illustrating there, if Bill Byford was the attendance supervisor or clerk, I would have 2 screens. I would have one screen with T&Share, the BVR pulled up, and I would have another screen with our local attendance pulled up, and I would simply toggle back and forth. There's Bill Byford, there's Randa Mead, there's Sandy Dawes, there's Gary Gluck. I think it would be easier for me to accomplish the task that way. But what you'll see in T&Share is our records, not your records.
The next comment says, I'm sorry for the confusion. I'm just a regular attendance secretary who's never had anything to do with the child nutrition area. Possibly I was put into this link by mistake. So maybe we need a little clarifier with that about why they may have been invited.
I think you're going to be part of the process. So you're learning today, and it's going straight into the deep end. I apologize for that, but what it sounds like you'll be responsible for is the BVR within your own school building.
So since our district used CQ to code the COVID-related absence, it will only show as an A. Is there no way that each district can let the state know what code was used and the state rerun the spreadsheet for each district based on what code they utilized, and it auto-update the spreadsheet to the correct code?
According to our IT student information systems professionals here, those default to an A, and there's no way for us to, given the fact that there's 10 plus vendors, attendance vendors in the state of Tennessee, there's no way that we can have connectivity with all of those different platforms. So the answer to that would be no.
There's a request to please send the PowerPoint out today so they can use it tomorrow to show principals what they're going to have to do to complete the BVR. Okay. There's a question regarding charter schools. It says, is it unclear how all charter schools will complete the BVR, or is that just the Shelby County charter schools?
I think it's a broader question, statewide question, so we'll be reaching out to those large urban districts that have charter schools and make sure that they're all aware that they're doing it a certain way and that they should communicate with their charter brethren that this is the way we're going to do it, and everybody's on the same page. So not just Shelby County, it's any large urban that has charter schools we'll be communicating with.
I just put some additional information in the chat to all participants. I'm being told that that is the contact information to send to parents for DHS. Let me get back to where we were. Please state the dates for the BVR attestation again, and will there be another BVR for April and May school days?
So you've got BVR April 27th through May 13th, and that'll be August through April. You've got another BVR May 21st through the end of the school year. And there's the possibility that we could have a third cleanup BVR, but right now as it stands, it looks like we're going to be okay with what we've got currently set up. There may be some one-offs of some kids that we find that need some verification, but we'll try to make that as painless on you as we can.
Just additional comments about the student ID error. Someone said all of theirs were due to the case type. They had to change them all to lowercase in order to pass. Additional comments saying other people are having that same problem. Who do we contact if we have a student that keeps getting rejected due to ID issues?
629-220-2000.
Who needs access to the Servicenow platform? I currently have T&Share, but I do not have Servicenow.
Yes, shoot me an email.
How many student names should we expect if we have never done this before?
How many student names should we expect? Everyone that has an absence.
Additional people saying that they're confused and need information on the portal that's being talked about. And that is all of the questions at the moment.
Okay, well, feel free to...
We can save these. I have the names of the folks who sent questions, and so we have those and we can follow up with those people if we need to, I guess.
Feel free to send me an email if you didn't get your question answered or answered appropriately. And I want to know who that was that wanted that PowerPoint tomorrow so they could train. I'll be glad to send that to you. Brandis, that's it.
I can give you, I can let you know who that was that needed it. I'll send you a message.
Okay. I appreciate everybody taking your time today. I know we're 30 minutes over, and I appreciate your patience and longevity here on this call. We're going to get through this. I can promise you that, and we're going to try to make it as painless as possible. I know this has been painful, just like this pandemic has been. Hopefully this is round 4 will be better than previous rounds. That is our goal. Thanks for joining this afternoon, and if I can help you, you see my contact information on here. Shoot me an email, call me directly. I will help you. Thank you.